So a Ferrari has crashed on the tail of the Dragon, and obviously this is very bad for both parties, but this is what absolutely scares me whenever I drive on the tail of the Dragon. And in today's viral video, I'm going to show you and break down step by step of who I think is at fault and who is absolutely at fault. So just because you own a Ferrari or just because you own a supercar does not mean you're a bad person or a good person. Does not mean also that you can't drive or can drive, but it also does not mean that you're entitled and you can go anywhere you want on the road. But as a result, this is why I think this guy has crashed, because he, one of two things, either A, didn't know how to drive, or made a very bad mistake that cost him basically his car. Without further ado, let's go ahead and roll that clip. As you can see in the obvious, from the first part of the video, it doesn't look like that the Ferrari is at fault. It kind of looks like the U-Haul box truck was at fault. Now, before any of y'all jump into conclusions, a U-Haul box truck is not a semi-truck or commercial vehicle, and especially that size, and it's not a truck driver by any means. And that U-Haul box truck is absolutely allowed on the tail of the Dragon. And also, on the tail of the Dragon, the only thing that's not allowed is specifically saying on signs where semi-trucks are not allowed. It has nothing to do with a U-Haul box truck that a regular civilian could drive. Now, I myself have been on the tail of the Dragon. I've taken my Mazda 3 out there, and I have taken my BMW 750 Li out there when I owned one. And I absolutely loved the drive. It was very nice. And yes, maybe I was inexperienced with some of the ways I took the turns back then, but since then I have learned. Now, I haven't taken my Infiniti Q50 as of yet, but I do plan to take it at some point if God willing he blesses me with the time to actually go down there and film me taking on the tail of the Dragon with my Infiniti Q50. But it's an absolutely beautiful road that you can take and enjoy even if you're not a car enthusiast, and I absolutely do recommend it. As well as take your time. If you can't drive fast, obviously there's gonna be cops there, so you might get a ticket if you drive fast, but also take your time and drive slowly, and you'll be surprised of how hard it is to take a turn even at speed limit speed. But if you do look at this angle and another close-up angle, you can clearly see the entitled Ferrari owner. Now, I'm just saying entitled as a joke. I don't even know if he's entitled or not. He may or she may have bought the car with hard-earned money, but simply does not know how to drive, or maybe he knows how to drive and made an honest mistake. But you can clearly see he comes out of these two solid yellow lines, which is a rule you cannot break when you drive in a public roads. The only time you can do this is when the roads are completely closed or it's a closed track. Just because you see the apex or the way to take a corner on your sports car does not give you the right to cross those two solid yellow lines. Now, do I think this Ferrari owner gets what he deserves? Yes, he does, because he crossed those two solid yellow lines. The box truck, thank goodness, he did not crash into anything else, but simply spun out. And the Ferrari damage on that Ferrari isn't as bad as I would thought it would have been. Yes, it broke a lot of metal, but the box truck almost looks like unharmed. I'm pretty sure the tires are blown out on it and everything like that, but at the same time, that's not that bad of a wreck, other than the fact that it could have ended worse and cost lives, especially if there was a motorcycle driving right near. It could have cost a motorcycle dearly, very much. And I think the Ferrari is at fault for this because simply went out of the yellow lines. Now, was he driving too fast for condition? Who knows? But he clearly went out of the yellow lines. Now, if you drive too fast for conditions and don't know how your vehicle acts or drives properly, this could happen to you even if you don't intentionally want to drive out of the two solid yellow lines. But 9 times out of 10, when accidents happen on the tail of the Dragon, most of the time people drive out of the solid yellow lines. That's the most of fatalities there, especially for motorcycles. That's exactly why you stay in your lane And you don't pass. Yes, just because you're in the tail of the dragon, there's somebody going slow in front of you. I know it may sound annoying, but you don't pass. Wait until they pull off safely, and then you can fly by them, zoom by them, do whatever you want, because there's a lot of pull-off areas. What you could also do is, if you want to enjoy your drive more, let your brakes cool down, because not a lot of you are running DOT4 brake fluid. A lot of you are running DOT3. And with that being said, they do tend to overheat, so what you should do if you get behind a slow car, you see a pull-off area, pull off safely, throw your four-way flashes if you want, so you see other people driving up, and take some pictures and videos of nice cool cars rolling by. And once your brakes cool off and you know that the slow car has way past gone by, just go off and enjoy your drive. But this Ferrari, which is a very viral going video on Facebook, is the reason why I'm afraid to sometimes drive on the tail of the dragon. A lot of people are also paranoid about it. I think the tail of the dragon actually claims more lives and wrecks and car crashes of people driving over the two solid yellow lines than actual people driving too fast and going off into the woods. A few things we could take from this video. 1, don't drive over the solid yellow lines. 2, money doesn't buy you the know-how of how to drive. You get that with experience. So money does not buy driving. Yes, that's on you. You got to know how to drive. So basically, learn your car, learn how your car handles, learn how your car reacts and drives and brakes and all that, and then drive the way you want to. Don't just expect to take on a turn thinking you know how your car handles. And also, if you have never sat in a high horsepower car, I do not recommend you taking a road like that. First of all, I do recommend you driving slow. Basically, take Mazda 3, for example, that I have. Drive that, learn how to drive that, and then move up to a Ferrari on your way up to horsepower. Learn how to drive from a very small horsepower standard. That's how you get to learn. Also, what could be a good investment for you is if you go to an actual racetrack that they do like in Las Vegas and take a car around the track with a professional. That's what I recommend.
Not canceled. Guys, I'm Eddie B. 2004 Turn right. This particular package.
Drive an attempt on the 6 Series.